Hello everybody, I am back and today I have my newest toy. It is a Traxxas Maxx. I had a Mini Maxx and so I figured I'd graduate up to the next size up, which would be the Max. And this one I got from the Hobby Town in Omaha, Nebraska for $569.99 is what these retail for. And this one actually has the new wide max suspension, which actually increases, probably shouldn't be holding a knife, which actually increases the width of the vehicle by, I think it's 1.5 inches. And you can see it is 4S. They advertise a top speed of 60 miles per hour. And of course that is with their optional speed gearing, which they advertise to not use. But anyways, get it out of the box and see what we got. Alright, so I'm gonna get some of the boring stuff out of the way first. Like usual, you do get paperwork. This looks like just an advertisement for their batteries and chargers. This is the quick start guide, which is not a full owner's manual. The full owner's manual with like most of the in-depth information will actually be on the website. Yeah. And then this is useful. This is actually the exploded view and parts list. So you can see it has the part number of every single part used to assemble this vehicle, broken down into categories. It also has the exploded view with the part numbers. And this explains how to use the TMS, which stands for Traxxas Stability Management. So this vehicle does have like a stability control, kind of like real cars. It helps you maintain control on slippery surfaces. This will actually be my first Traxxas with this, so that'd be kind of cool to experience that. This is just your warranty registration. And then this is a guide to the TQ system, the TQ Link, because this model does support telemetry, which is kind of like this right here. It's basically like live data, like motor speed, vehicle speed, battery level, motor temperature, stuff like that. This radio system does support that. It's called the TQ High Output is what it is called. And again, it does feature stability control. And this also features 30 model memory. So you can basically kind of program and save 30 different vehicles to this one transmitter. So you don't have to have, 20 different transmitters for each of your vehicles if you kind of like collecting them like that. Anyways, and these are the so-called high quality tools Traxxas advertises of giving. This is very funny. I used to have this exact same tool, this same part number on a Nitro Sport I used to have. It was for the glow plug. It's funny, they give it in an electric car. I'm guessing at the moment it's for the wheel hub hexes, or the hex nuts for the wheel hubs or the wheels. I will confirm that in a second. And this is an Allen wrench. Looks like a 2. Yeah, I think that's a 2. And this looks like a, no, I'm sorry, this is a 2. This is a 2.5. I'm pretty sure I got that right. And this stuff right here, these are just foam battery spacers you put in the battery tray to kind of help prevent your battery from moving around and getting beat up. And this was interesting. Apparently, this piece is used for when you want to use the 4-cell LiPo that this advertiser can fit. And apparently you have to put it in the battery tray and you have to install these spacers. So I do have a 4-cell LiPo. I'm going to see if I can get it to fit without having to do this, because Traxxas, they have 2 different sizes of 4-cell battery of different length. I think it's different length is the difference in sizes. But anyways, let's get the body off. And then obviously it does use clipless body mounting. And take that off. And then we'll see what Traxxas gives you for the pretty penny these things cost. We will start at the front and then work our way back, because that's the safest way to do it. So for starters, looks like it does have, yes, it does have a shock absorbing bumper. That's pretty useful. It'll kind of help prevent avoidable parts breakages. And these wheels, I think these are 2.8 inch wheels, and they utilize Traxxas's sledgehammer style of tire. And the nice thing, it's a really, really nice soft rubber compound. I'm actually kind of surprised how soft that is. That does feel really nice. because I do have a Traxxas Stampede, which I didn't get that unboxing on video. Well, I did get it on video, but I never uploaded it because I didn't like how it turned out. But the tire is really hard. The rear feels like the same compound. And there is the tire size, in case you were curious, if you wanted the exact tire size. And again, you see it confirm my theory. Yes, okay. So it does use, this tool is for the wheel nuts. That's a lot better. My camera was dirty. And this is a big vehicle. It's a lot bigger than your average 1/10 scale. If I have a tape measure, I could probably give you a wheelbase. All right, let's get a measurement here. We'll go from center to center. Looks like the wheelbase is right at 14 inches. And the width, which I'm gonna have to do it like that just because it's so long. Width is roughly from sidewall to sidewall. It was like 15 3/8 inches. So she's pretty big. But yeah, so you can see how long those suspension arms are. And it looks like you do get adjustable shock positioning. It looks like they give you three settings for position. And the logic here is, so the more inboard you have the shock, the softer the suspension will be, because the arm kind of has more leverage on the shock absorber. So that's kind of like a free and easy way to tune your suspension stiffness. And it does have aluminum threaded body shocks, and you adjust the ride height by screwing down these collars that kind of preloads this spring, and that's how you adjust the ride height. And again, they are blue anodized aluminum, the shocks, and they feel super nice, very smooth. On the stiffer side, which is good for handling, it is actually good for jumping, which people like to do with RC cars, so that's nice. And the front diff is moderately stiff. So these diffs are filled with silicone fluid, and they are limited slip. And that's kind of how you adjust the limited slipness, is you just change the viscosity of the fluid in the diffs. And it looks like turnbuckles are solid plastic. It's interesting. Not adjusted, you cannot adjust toe. Usually vehicles this pricey, you can adjust toe. But that steering servo looks massive. And the reason it looks massive is because it is the Traxxas 2090 steering servo, which is the same servo they use on the X-Maxx, which is the largest and original member of the Traxxas Maxx family, which kind of seems to be Traxxas's pride and joy of their lineup. It offers, I think it's 285 ounce-inches of torque, and it has a 0.18 second transit time from lock to lock. So we will kind of see how fast that is. This is the ESC. It is the Traxxas VXL 4S. So this can handle 4S. And obviously it has a built-in fan. That's always nice to see. And again, it is 2.4 gigahertz. So it has the short, cute little stubby antenna. And it's a massive, massive speed control. It is quite large. And it also has an external 10 amp fuse. I have never seen that before. That is very interesting. And again, this does have the TSM, or Traxxas Stability Management, and it also has a self-righting feature, which if you basically flip the vehicle over and you kind of turtle shell it like that, what it can do, you can hit a button on the transmitter and it'll start rocking the wheels back and forth, and it'll make the truck self-right itself like that. I have never had a vehicle that had that. I have seen on forums where people are stripping out their spur gears using that feature. So take that how you will. I will try it once or a few times maybe just to see how it works, but I don't plan on using it because I don't want to strip out my spur gear. But yeah. And this long blue thing, this is the brushless Valenion motor. I believe it is the Traxxas 540XL motor. It is 2400 kV, and it does have a nice aluminum heatsink and a fan installed. So that's pretty sweet. And this is that battery tray. That's a really long battery tray that I do not know how to operate. Looks like do you push down on that? Oh, okay. It's just like snap. Oh, that's cool. It hinges. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, so what you do is you basically just push. If you have it like that, you would push out. If you have it like this, you would push up. So I'm gonna just say push up and then hinge it out. That's nice, and that stays attached. So that's not gonna fall off. You can't lose that. It probably can't break. Anything can break if you abuse it. But yeah, I wanna see how that fancy little part they gave me fits. So I'm guessing it goes like that. Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, so it basically just adds material to this. So it basically helps with the shorter packs that have less height to them. And again, the logic there is to keep your batteries from moving around. All right, well, I'll shove it in there. And looks like I do have the battery that needs that. Yes, I do. And I do need to use the foam spacer. There's little spacer blocks that I'll just, basically put behind there. And I do want to see how, this is a 4S battery. I do want to see how a 3S will fit. So I'm gonna try that now. Okay, I am back with my 3S. It's not, you can see it's not as tall. Oh, it might be. See, it's a little shorter than the 4S. I can probably still make it work, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, you see there is some room. So I will need to put a spacer right there, which is probably, I could probably use the spacer I got with my battery box, honestly. As long as it doesn't move around, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how you do it. Oh, and that came off when I did that. Anyways. Yeah, so that's the battery tray. Then we can move on to the rear. Now, under this cover. Now, this vehicle has two interesting things. One, it does have a center diff that, again, is silicone filled, so you can tune how stiff your center diff is. There also is a thing called it's called a cush drive. It's kind of what Traxxas use as to take the place of a slipper clutch on their very high power models. Basically, it's like an elastic damper that provides some cushion in the drivetrain. I might actually take that cover off and get that out and take a look at it. But we will come on to the rear. Rear is mostly the same story as the front. Looks like you do get 3 shock position mounting options, and it does, again, they are anodized aluminum threaded bodied shocks, which you adjust the ride height using those collars. Again, nice rubber compound, and again, it does have the wide arms, and looks like toe is not adjustable in the rear. It is built into the control arms. And it does have a shock absorbent bumper, and it does have a wheelie bar, so that is nice. It does come with a wheelie bar, and the rear diff is fairly stiff. Yeah. Oh yeah, and you can see the drive shafts on both the front and the rear are plastic, and the hubs are filled with ball bearings. So what I think I want to do now is I want to see how fast that steering servo turns. See, it's not the quickest, but it is respectably quick. And now I want to take this off and kind of show you that modular construction. And I do want to take a look at that cush drive, because I've never had a vehicle that had that. And I am just kind of interested to get my hands on that. So I did want to make a note. I removed this cover It goes right here. By removing two of these screws, there's two screws like this. They are the same size, so you do not have to worry about position, and they are 2.5 millimeter drive. But so that cover comes off there, and that is a, look how big those gears are. That is a metal pinion riding up against a plastic spur, and that right there is the cush drive I want to take a look at. But I just wanted to showcase just how thick and big those gears are. I think those are some of the biggest gears I've seen on an RC car as far as the width, which in theory gives them more surface area, which means that they should be more durable. Okay, and here is the Traxxas cush drive. As you can see, it does ride on ball bearings, but what it does, and it is lubricated too, you can see there is grease on it, but it sets down in there like, well, if I can get that, I'm losing parts left and right. Anyways, it sits down in there like that, and it does have a ball bearing on that end and that end. So again, you have your metal spur that drives the, the metal pinion that drives the plastic spur that is the cush drive itself, and it does have a shaft that drives that gear that is keyed. So basically, that shaft is kind of floating inside that, and there is some kind of elastic material that provides some shock absorption for the drivetrain. And then that metal gear right there, that is the center diff that has my pin resting on top of it at the moment. And the motor does use Traxxas's, it's kind of like fixed pinion mesh or gear mesh system, where it has different holes corresponding to different gear sizes. Okay, and here is the cush drive taken apart. You can see it's basically, this is kind of the cushion part. It's like a little soft piece of either really soft plastic or rubber. And you have this part right here that kind of freely rotates like that. So you see how it has the like the three sides to it, and then those basically just, this kind of sits in the middle of it like that. And then you can see this shaft that I said kind of floats in there. You can see that. Unfortunately, like most humans, I only have two hands, so I'm working with what I got. I'm trying to hold a camera, pay attention to what I'm doing through the screen, and show you what else is going on. Yeah, so that is keyed, and basically that rides in that key, and then that just kind of gives it some cushion. Okay, so I finally got the rear section off, and that requires, so you got to remove all of those screws. What was that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws, and you do have to remove this center chassis brace. It kind of goes up. The thing's really heavy and thick, by the way. That goes right there, and that requires removing all of those screws, and all of these screws are 2.5 millimeter drive, by the way, and the drive shaft resides underneath this cover. I just wanted to point out how thick and beefy this drive shaft is. That is actually pretty impressive. But anyways, here's the rear clip of the vehicle, and the center diff is housed in that housing right there. So, but anyways, that's my first look at the Traxxas Maxx. This vehicle has been out for probably at least 5 years, I'd say. I am looking forward to running it. It will be my first time actually using a 4-cell battery. But anyways, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.